Lightning split the night. A newborn wailed. "A child of darkness," the midwife murmured. "No," his mother answered, steady as thunder rolled. "A child of light." His name? Nikola Tesla. The storm would never quite leave him. In the Green Valley, a priest father shaped sermons. A mother, Juka, shaped tools from wire and wood. Between him and hammer, young Nikola learned that ideas could glow like embers if hands were brave enough to hold them. He saw patterns in rivers and halos in air. Words arrived as flashes, whole machines assembled in thought. A boy haunted by light learned to steer his visions, turning torment into a private workshop no fire could touch. In a Graz lecture hall, the dynamo sang. Tesla stared as sparks leapt, then whispered treason. A motor with no commutator, powered by alternating currents? Laughter rose. He left with a furnace lit behind his ribs. Budapest, winter. Exhausted, reciting Goethe in the park, Tesla froze mid-verse. Lines spiraled, fields rotated, an invisible wheel. He traced arcs in the air, shouting to his friend. The motor was no longer a theory. Paris hummed with dynamos. At Continental Edison, Tesla tuned clattering machines until they purred. But his sketches showed another path. Smooth fields, pulsing phases. A motor would dance without sparks. He landed in New York with a few coins and a letter that read like a drum roll. Skyscrapers were stubs then, but ambition towered. Tesla walked into Edison's realm, carrying storms inside a thin coat.
Nights vanished in a blizzard of repairs. Edison prized grit. Tesla prized elegance. When promised riches for redesigning DC machines dissolved into a shrug, the partnership cracked like ice under boot. He left. An arc-light venture rose. Then investors swept the company from him. Pride met pavement. For a time, the man who dreamed new worlds dug trenches in this one. Blueprints folded like bandages in his pocket. Peck and Brown. In a cramped lab, coils hummed, copper sang. The egg of Columbus spun upright on a sleeking field of alternating currents. Skeptics stared. The room warmed with belief. At the AIEE, Tesla sketched the future in chalk. Rotating fields, polyphase power, motors without brushes. George Westinghouse listened, then extended a hand that felt like a gate swinging open. The war of currents turned brutal. Pamphlets smeared AC as a street killer. Demonstrations slaughtered animals. The first electric chair cracked the air with horror. Progress wore a mask with teeth. Money grew tight at Westinghouse. To save the system he'd birthed, Tesla eased his royalties. Legend says he tore up a fortune on paper. He chose current over currency, and the river kept rolling. Chicago, 1893. Night switched to day. AC lit the white city with a soft, impossible glow. Tesla stepped into violet arcs. Lamps obeyed without wires, and the crowd felt the future slide under their feet. He tinkered with light like a poet. Mark Twain laughed as cold fire glided along glass and strings sang from high-frequency coils. In those hours, electricity felt like music finally written down. Upstate, giants of steel crept toward Niagara, carving a pact between river and city. Turbines would churn the falls into miles of turning motors, proof that the machine in Tesla's mind could drive a continent. Then, ash. A spark, a scream of flame. The lab went under in a night of smoke. Years of notebooks curled to black lace. Tesla stood in the street, face lit by embers, counting what could not be counted. He rebuilt and chased ghosts inside glass.
X-rays etched bones like secrets. Tesla warned of burns and strange fatigue, yet pressed on, sending shadowgrams to Röntgen and mapping a new, invisible theater. Madison Square Garden, 1898. A small boat obeyed invisible commands. Spectators shouted, "Fraud!" Tesla smiled and steered it in quiet loops. The age of remote control had just cleared its throat. Thin air, thick lightning. Coils howled, sparks walked the walls, and the ground itself seemed to breathe. Tesla tuned the earth like a drum, listening for answers in the war. He came back with a map of the invisible. A global wireless web, messages without wires, even power leaping through air. J.P. Morgan weighed the vision. A deal was inked. Wardenclyffe would rise from sand and pine.
On Long Island, a wooden giant shouldered the sky. Bolted ribs, a copper cap, labyrinths below. As girders climbed, a headline crackled from across the Atlantic. Marconi had sent an S through night and salt. Meters and doubts. Costs swelled. Morgan's stare cooled. Reporters scented blood. The wizard, they wrote, had chased thunder into fog. Tesla tightened his coat against a summer wind that felt like November. Bladeless turbines, tuned oscillators. A legend says one device shook a building until police arrived. He pocketed the hammer and smiled. Enough proof for one afternoon. Nights, he fed pigeons. A white one visited his window, and when her wings failed, something in him folded too. The city roared beneath a man listening for a heartbeat only he could hear. Then the river answered. Switches closed at Niagara, and light leapt to Buffalo. Factories woke, streets brightened, the continent inhaled. The wheel Tesla imagined in Graz finally turned everything else. At Morgan's desk, the air itself felt collateral. If anyone can draw from your tower, where do we put the meter? The question fell like a verdict. Tesla's dream met the arithmetic of empire. Marconi collected prizes and headlines. Tesla seethed, publishing claims and diagrams like warnings. Underneath, the tower's timbers creaked, a ship in harbor with no tide to meet it. War and metal grew scarce. Crews arrived with wrenches. The tower fell in stages, a giant unbuttoned to bones. Dust rose, the horizon narrowed. Silence had never sounded so loud.
In 1943, the Supreme Court clipped Marconi's patents, noting earlier work, Tesla's among it. The gavel echoed through a room he would never enter. He died that winter, before the footnote turned to legend. At New Yorker Hotel, routine armored the hours. 3-block walks, napkins folded to angles, dinners of milk and bread. He lived inside equations only he could hear, the city a distant surf. When the maid knocked, no answer. Behind a bolted door, the storm finally went out. Officials boxed his papers. Myths rushed in to replace the body's warmth, like air where a bell had been. But the grid hums his name. Motors turn in mines and kitchens. Neon scribbles nights. Power leaves waterfalls to find your fingertips. The invisible cities he mapped are the ones we live inside now. He also imagined a pocket transmitter linking the world. Voices, news, images, anywhere. A century later, we reach into our pockets and pull down weather from the sky like fruit from a familiar tree. Myth clings like static. He was not a conjurer of endless energy, but of efficiency, resonance, and reach. The miracle wasn't free power, it was shared power. Systems that let ordinary lives blaze brighter. Stand at the falls, feel the ground tremble. A baby born to thunder taught rivers to write in light.